everybody. It's Sophie and
Marco.
And we're dishing out on the movies today. Our next Halloween, which is over. Hope you had a happy one. Our next scary, quote, scary movie or horror movie is called Terror of the Tongs.
Wait, this is a horror movie?
Yeah, that's what I said, but it was released in March 15th, 1961. And the main star, it was the first Hammer horror movie that gave Christopher Lee the top billing. Okay, the actors are Christopher Lee, who I just talked about. He played the Red Dragon Tong leader, Chung King. British Captain Jackson Sale was played by Jeffrey Toone. Lee, a part Asian English girl, was played by Yvonne Monlor, who is a French film actress who just died in 2017. She was a daughter of a French poet and a Russian ballerina and pianist.
Really?
And the other actors were Marnie Maitland, who played a beggar, who was part of the rebellion against the Tong. Brian Worth is the district commissioner. Marie Burke is Maya, who was the owner of a shop and part of the resistance. Mr. Ming was played by Bert Kwok. He was a diplomat carrying important documents concerning the Tongs. And Barbara Brown played Helena Sale, the captain's daughter. All right. It is 1910 in Hong Kong. The ship, the SS Helena, pulls into the harbor of Hong Kong. Captain Sale is having dinner with Mr. Ming, an Asian diplomat. When the captain isn't looking, Mr. Ming slips a paper into a book and gives it to the captain to give to his daughter as a present. Immediately, Mr. Ming disembarks and gets attacked by a red axe wielding guy, who he shoots first, but still gets killed anyway. The axe wielder was hired by Chung King, leader of the Red Dragon Tong, which is comparable to a crime syndicate or a cartel. Apparently, the paper that was hidden in the book reveals important information on the Tong that could disrupt their extortion practices and thriving opium business. Chung King wants all the crew and anyone else on board the ship to be killed until he finds that message and destroys it. Unfortunately, the captain's daughter, Helena, who the captain presented with a beautiful jade ring and the gift of a special book that has that message, she also gets killed by the Tong. And before Helena gets killed, the maid finds the message only to be killed later and have her hand cut off, which is a symbol of a Tong killing. Unfortunately, they found the message. Because the Tong killed Captain Sale's daughter, he immediately goes after Chung King and the Tong with the help of a beggar, a half-Chinese woman named Lee, and Maya, the shopkeeper. Okay, Marco, go ahead.
Which, by the way, here's a question. Why would if there's such a secret society, why would they want there to be a symbol of one of their killings?
Because they want people to be afraid of them and don't.
Yeah, but if they're so secret, why would they?
I don't think they are secret.
They're secret though. They're called a secret society.
They're supposed to not secret.
They're supposed to not exist, and they're chopping people's hands off and just pretending like there's nothing to that. And I think that's a question. Not really like a huge problem with the movie. I think the movie is pretty good. It's not a horror movie at all.
Not at all.
Like Poltergeist.
It's just it's a murder movie.
It's not a murder movie. It's like a history movie. I don't know.
It's kind of parts of each
It's
because
got a little tiny bit of horror in it.
several people get killed, and it's just like it was no problem for them. And that, to me, I think that was kind of unusual in those days for so many people to get killed. But I could be wrong.
It's not even rated to the movie. It's not rated. So.
Well, apparently,
Who knows?
the Mr. Ming told the captain that the Tongs touched the lives of over 70% of the Chinese population in Hong Kong, and told them that the police were no match for them. They were so strong. So if they're that strong, they're not very secret.
Yeah.
Plus the fact that everyone knew that if you got your hand chopped off, if they found a murdered body and the hand had been chopped off, they knew that it was a Tong killing. So that's not very secret either when everybody knows.
I said that.
But that nobody knows what that, everybody knows what that means.
Yeah.
So.
They're not secret
That's
at all.
not secret.
So, anyways, I enjoyed the movie. I would
too.
I don't know if I'd watch it again.
Yeah.
Unless I was doing like a Christopher Lee marathon.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I wouldn't really. It has some good moments. Like there's a torture scene, and it lasts for about 2 seconds, and that was a good idea. Whoever came up with that, because that took it a step even further than just like chopping off a hand. It was torture. And also I like the thing with the opium and the heroin about the guy gets high for like 24 hours and then he's supposed to be ready for battle.
Yeah, Mark was talking about. Remember, I talked about at the beginning of the movie how Mr. Ming disembarks from the boat, and this guy immediately comes running at him. He comes running at him with an axe with a red handle. Sorry. And the thing is, this is kind of like, they call this a ritual Tong killing. They say this in the movie, and they have this ceremony, and I think they beat a drum, and there's incense, and he wears, the killer who's been designated to do this ritual killing wears a beautiful red embroidered coat, and is presented with this red-handled axe, and they act like they're in a trance, so maybe, like Marco says, they're high. They're high.
He said that.
And
he said that. Don't you remember? He said, okay, now you're going to get as much heroin as you want for 24 hours.
It's opium.
And I don't know.
It's opium.
And then all that's going to be on your mind is killing somebody. I won't reveal who because it'd be a spoiler. So he gets high and then he goes and kills somebody. It's kind of funny how that works.
But
heroin is their fuel.
It's not heroin, it's opium. So anyway, this particular killer, though, who killed Mr. Ming, he got shot by Mr. Ming, but also a doctor who was part of the Tong came up and said, I'll take care of things, and he had a little blade which you couldn't see and the captain didn't see it, and he stabbed the killer to death. So really, it looks like if you're designated this ritual killer, you're going to get killed too.
No, that's not true.
Well, that time
it's only. He was going to get caught. He was going to get arrested.
Yeah, that's right. It was to keep him from talking. Yeah.
So, anyways, let's talk about the acting. Christopher Lee clearly did the best job.
Yes, he did.
I thought the main actor, he was a good actor, but
what main actor?
The main guy. He wasn't very interesting. He was just kind of there.
Lee, or?
No, I said Christopher Lee did the best job in the movie. The other guy, the hero.
Oh,
Who
the
else?
captain.
Who else would be the main guy?
I don't know, 'cause there was a few main guys, but they really weren't.
No, they weren't. They're not main guys. He's
The
the main
captain
guy.
is the other main guy, and his name is Jeffrey Toone, and
He did
was
okay.
he was nothing compared to
Christopher Lee.
Christopher Lee had this voice that was very evil, and he was so tall and menacing, and they had him, like
It's
this.
unfortunate because he's hardly in the movie.
Yeah, he's hardly in the movies. Like if you cut the movie into thirds, he's in it for a little bit in each of the thirds.
Yeah.
In fact, he's like starts out the movie, in the middle they show him a little bit because they capture the captain and he gets tortured because they're going to kill him, but he escapes with the help of that.
Okay, stop spoiling the movie.
Well, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it does.
Well, anyway, and then he appears in the end, so it's like a little bit in each third of the movie.
The actress,
Which one? The French one?
the French one,
Because she had the biggest
had
female
a
actor.
lot of trouble pronouncing words,
Yeah.
and she was just kind of there.
She was in quite a few Hammer horror movies.
She's a lot.
apparently.
She's a lot better than the other Hammer movies I've seen her in. And what? Well, that would be a spoiler. Okay, let's just rate the movie now. I want to get to spoilers.
Well, I just want to say, because I didn't say this, that this is actually, here it is. This movie is actually a remake of Hammer's 1959 film called The Stranglers of Bombay.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is. That's what they said.
What the?
And which Bombay is India. So I don't get that at
The
all.
Stranglers of Bombay.
And it was made like in a couple of months between 1959 and 1960. So just wanted to say that. So you go ahead and rate the movie, and then I'll
Well,
rate it.
if it doesn't have Christopher Lee in it, it's not
It wouldn't be
something.
any good, I don't
It's
think.
probably going to be any good. And so I would rate it Ants on a Log, which probably isn't very attractive. Like the Poltergeist review, I gave that a generic pudding cup. I gave this one an Ants on a Log because it was a little bit more than being generic, just a little bit. It was refreshing. It's a very refreshing snack, and I like peanut butter a lot. I don't really like raisins though, and the raisins are represented by the fact that this isn't a horror movie, which is what it was advertised as. And it was not very long, and there was not very much to it compared to other historical movies that I've seen. And the acting was not very good besides Christopher Lee. So, Ants on a Log, peanut butter's Christopher Lee, the celery is the action, because the celery is pretty good, especially for those days. And it's straight and to the point. And then, yeah, the raisins are the fact that the non-horror elements. What do you rate it, Sophie?
Well, first of all, I want to say it's a very, very simple movie. It's probably like a two-part TV miniseries. It doesn't even seem like a movie to me. The plot was very easy to understand, and it was more like a history movie, although about Hong Kong in 1912, which on my very, very brief research, because I had to do the laundry, I couldn't find anything about the Tong, but they did have two opium wars in Hong Kong during that time. And if you want to read about the Tong, there was some kind of Tong wars in New York City. So in their Chinese part of town, Chinatown. So, but I didn't read about it. I didn't get a chance to read about it. But so, and then another thing, one thing I did not like, but this is something that was practiced back then when they had a movie about Native Americans or anybody who was foreign looking, they would make the actors up to look foreign looking.
Who cares?
And I didn't like that.
Who cares?
Anyway,
Doesn't matter.
so they made up all these British actors,
So
made
you
them up to look Chinese.
So you wanted somebody, you wanted just a random Asian person who's never acted before to play the person rather than an experienced British actor. Is that what you're saying?
I don't know.
That basically
Maybe
then
the
fuck
guy
Christopher Lee and replace Christopher Lee with some random Asian guy
not
who's never
Lee.
acted before. Oh, so it's okay for Christopher Lee to do it,
Well,
but not for any of the other people in the movie.
Listen to Marco give me a hard time. So anyway, I just didn't like
hilarious.
that much. But Mr. Ming actually, he was played by that man called Kwok, and I don't know what that is, but he was really he looked authentically Asian. But anyway, the best part of the movie for me, I agree with Marco, was Christopher Lee, because he has this towering presence and this menacing
He's
voice.
the best part of the movie, even though he's not Asian. Isn't that interesting, Safi?
Yeah.
Little hypocrisy there.
Okay, Marco. But it made him seem like the perfect killer. So, like Marco said too, I would not consider this a horror movie. Not like Dracula or Frankenstein or any of the other familiar Hammer horror flicks. So, I gave it a B and a nice bowl of Lay's potato chips with French onion dip. So, it was just kind of a pleasant, although there's all these killings, and it was very shocking, I think, that the captain's daughter was murdered. I would never have expected that.
I wasn't shocked because it actually told you that on IMDb.
Well, I didn't read that.
It said the captain.
I didn't read anything about the movie before.
There's a group of violent Hong Kong people, and they kill this British captain's daughter, so he seeks revenge. That's literally what they put for the synopsis.
Well, see, I didn't read anything about the movie, so I had no idea what it was about. So yes, that does give it away. So for me, because I did not read the synopsis, it was shocking to me. And she has a very small part, and she's really goofy and silly. And,
it was very weird why they killed her though. Like there wasn't any reason to kill her.
Well, and they knew that too.
Yeah.
They admitted that.
In fact, I think the reason is because one of them was a resistance person.
A what was?
A resistance person. Wasn't one of them the right-hand man? We're in the spoilers now, so.
I don't know.
Spoiler alert, the right-hand man of the entire group was actually all along a resistance person. And so I believe that he was with the killer, and he decided to kill his daughter to basically piss off the guy and to kill them and to be in a fighter for the resistance.
Yes, that was a little thread in the movie, that the resistance wanted to use the captain because they knew. I mean, this was a terrible thing that his daughter gotten killed, and although he's really not a very good actor, and for somebody who lost his daughter,
oh yeah, he gets over it quickly.
You never know it.
He's like this. He's like.
Sorry.
He makes this funny face when he sees his dead daughter. They like do the zoom in on his face, and he's like, "Ugh."
But like we both agree,
For
Christopher Lee is the only one
He's the only good part of this movie.
For the acting.
Really.
And that's no offense, but I mean that's just the way it is. Sorry. So that's what I give it. It's I like French onion dip, and there's it's spicy and not overly spicy.
I don't think you ever said your rating.
I did. I gave it a B, and I gave it a bowl of plain Lay's potato chips with French onion dip. That's what I rated it. So.
Well, spoiler alert, I think the one way you could have made this a horror movie easily is at the end, Christopher Lee looks at the captain and he's like, "You have proved yourself a worthy component." Or, no, a worthy opponent. What could have happened is he could have then turned into a red dragon monster.
Yeah.
And he could have fought the captain and then, like, killed all the other resistance, and the captain would have to fight him off. That would make it a horror movie easily.
Or he could have turned into a red dragon. They would have fought, and just the captain would have killed him.
Yeah, that's what I really wanted to happen too.
Actually, the ending was a little lame.
It was very anticlimactic. The captain comes inside this building where they are, and Christopher Lee stands up and says, "You have proven yourself a very worthy opponent." And then his right-hand man stabs him
in the back with this big sword. Skinny. Like a saber, almost. A skinny little, thin, weird, long knife. I don't know.
So that was very anticlimactic.
It was, and that was shocking in itself. Because
I thought it was kind of stupid. I thought it was like, oh, that's it. And especially with the actress.
Lee
gets killed, which I thought was very predictable and stupid.
Yeah, you knew she was going to get killed. What happens is the doctor comes to their house looking for the captain, and remember, the doctor's the one at the very beginning who finishes off with this little bitty knife, finished curvy special ceremonial knife. The ceremonial killer who killed Mr. Ming. So the girl used to work with the
She didn't work with them. She was
a possession.
She was a bad guy's
possession
slave.
Yeah.
And she was not really working with the group like you would think. I thought she was working with the group at first.
But she recognized the doctor, and he went after her, but she locked the door, and he went to go after the captain. And so she went to warn the captain. Of course, you knew what was going to happen. She's going to get killed somehow.
Yeah.
And she does.
I thought that was lame, too, because he shot... This guy was running at him with the hatchet all high on heroin. And he shot him like 5 times, and he still managed to stab the woman in the back. I thought that was stupid.
So we've really basically given away the whole movie.
Well, we're in the spoiler section.
That's right, but I just wanted to say, I think I reckon it's not a very long movie, and I recommend you watching, if you like Christopher Lee and you want to see everything he's ever made, because this was the very first time he was given top billing in a Hammer movie.
Yeah.
So if that's something that, I know that on Facebook there's a Hammer group, so if any of you want to...
In fact, we need to post that there.
Yeah, but anyway, if any of you are interested in Hammer movies, number 1, and also Christopher Lee, then I would watch this movie. It won't take that much of your time. So, and it's very simple, and you might enjoy it.
Or maybe you'll hate us for recommending it to you. Be like,
no, I don't think so.
We'll never watch you guys again.
No, I don't think you'd be mad because
it has Christopher Lee.
It has Christopher Lee, and he does. This is a very simple role. Like Marco said, he was not in the movie very much, but every time he was in it, he was very formidable, and he had this very menacing voice and towering presence, like I said.
But he was never really threatening at all. It was really just I mean, he wasn't threatening.
Well, the one when the captain was, when they grabbed the captain and they're going to torture him, he was pretty threatening then.
He was not threatening because
I thought he was.
I thought his henchman was threatening. The one that was muscular and he was bald and he had eyeliner on.
The torturer.
He was very creepy, and it was like he was just a sociopath. And Christopher Lee, and here's another thing. He gave away that he wasn't threatening in that scene because he said, tomorrow we need to show him that we did not do this for our own amusement. That was the funniest line in the movie. Because he said right there they didn't want to do the torture for their own amusement. It was to get the information. So he's not threatening. He doesn't like that. I don't get how that would make him threatening. But
well,
anyway.
He had a mean voice.
Yeah, he's
put it that
in a
way.
mean voice. The next movie we will be reviewing is Phantasm 2. We decided to do this because the first one left so many questions, and because Sophie had a fit that she didn't get spoon-fed all the information. Like with most modern Marvel movies.
I did not like that movie because
it was smart, innovative,
I don't agree.
Masterpiece.
I don't agree
horror.
that it's a masterpiece.
In horror, not in general. In horror.
I don't agree.
Well,
hopefully the Phantasm 2 will make up for it.
Well, the one thing about it is it won't have the kid from the first one, but it'll have all the other actors. I don't get that. Why would you do that? That's
I don't know.
stupid.
I don't like that either.
So anyway, goodbye everybody.
Bye everybody. See you very soon.